That's all I could do.
Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go out.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to another video. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we are talking about my top 6 favorite books that I've read so far. I figured I would do this video because my channel is all about my lifestyle and things that I'm currently in, things that I love to do. And one thing that I've been obsessed with is reading new books. I think I just feel like I finally found my genre, and it's just fulfilling everything that needs to be fulfilled. So I wanted to share my top 6 favorite books that I've read so far this year. So if you are interested in hearing what books those are, and if you are a reader yourself, then make sure you keep watching. Okay, so before we get into the books that I chose to share with you, most of them are YA fantasy. Yes, I'm a grown woman, but I love YA fantasy, okay? Because I love the worlds that they create in these books, and the main characters are black girls. So I love a good fantasy book with the protagonist is a black girl. Woo woo. And then I also have some that are a little bit more spicy for the grown folks. Okay, so the first 3 are, like I said, black girl fantasy books, and they definitely give off like the same vibe, which is probably why I love all 3 of them. The first one is The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport. This book was amazing. You're probably gonna hear me say that a lot, but this is the most recent or the last YA fantasy book that I completed, and I loved it so much. Now, I'm horrible at explaining what books are about, so I will link all these books below, and if you want to read a little bit more about them, then I highly recommend doing that. But in a nutshell, it's about the main character, Ikenna, who lost her grandfather. She didn't have her parents in her lives either, so her grandfather was kind of like her last really close family member that she loved and adored, and who really was there all her life, motivated her, trained her to be this badass warrior. But he passed away. After he passed away, her life just spiraled out of control, and she went into some hard times, depression, just acting out, doing all kind of stuff, getting in trouble, so forth and so forth. She then found out that her grandfather's death was not an accident, it was a murder. So that kind of sparked the fire under her to join the trials to become a Praetorian, so that can kind of get her closer to finding out who her grandfather. And she was highly motivated by that to get to the trials, and these trials, y'all, was crazy. And when I say trial, I'm talking about they were going through different events to test like their strength and test their combat, their mental and physical strength. A lot of people were dying in these trials that weren't passing them. They were super crazy. And sometimes when I'm reading these YA fantasy books, I be wondering, like, these younger generation really be reading books like these, because it had me all up in my feelings, and I was shocked the stuff that they were going through to basically prove themselves to be these like super warriors to fight in war. Okay, so the next one is Blood Scion by Deborah Fallay. I hope I'm saying her last name right. But this was my first baby. This was the first fantasy book that I picked up. This was the first book that I read when I kind of started my reading journey over the summer. This is what caused me to become addicted to reading. Like, I will forever hold this book in my heart, and I'm definitely going to reread this book again. I'm probably going to read all these books again because a lot of them are having part twos coming out, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, Blood Scion. This was my girl. Now, the main character, our girl here, she was only 15 in the book, super young. But the stuff that she was going through, you be forgetting. At least me, when I be reading these books and the character, they're younger, I be forgetting. Because the stuff that they go through and they get through, their resilience, I don't even think I would have the strength. I don't even think I would have the strength. But similar to Blood Trials, her mother in this book, I believe, was murdered, and she was on a quest to find who her mother's murderer was, or basically what actually happened to her mother. She was raised by her grandfather. She had these really cool powers that she developed. That if anyone found out that she had, would be she would be taken out. Okay, it was very dangerous for people to know that she had this power. So Blood Trials as well, she had powers too that she had to hide, because if they found out that she had those powers, she would also be taken out. So they was fighting multiple battles. They was fighting battles to keep their own secret and their powers concealed, while being triggered by all these people that was trying to do them harm, that hurt their loved ones. And I don't know about you, but if I found out like something like that happened, I had these powers that kind of sparked from my emotions, yeah, it would be kind of difficult to hold them back. So that was the struggle between our two sis in these books as well. But yeah, so once she turned 15, this kind of reminds me of, was it the movie The Trial Game? No, what is that movie? Bird. What is that movie? So this book kind of gave me the vibes of the Hunger Games. So like as soon as she turned 15, she was then sent to train in the Lucius army. And just like Blood Trials, Blood Scion's training and trials were freaking crazy. I'm talking about life or death situations, like inhumane, just crazy. They really, their goal was to really break down those who were recruited for their trainings. Literally first 10 page, crazy. Like it was hooked. I could not put this book down. I was reading it every day, all day. Super good. I don't want to give away too much, but super duper good. Okay, so the third book and the last in this video, not the last that I have, but the last in this video, that is fantasy, black girl fantasy, is Legendborn. This book was amazing, and I keep saying that, but I don't know how else to describe these books, but amazing. I can't wait to reread this book as well and really mark it up, because I did not put a mark in this book at all. I just, with any of my books actually, I just read them through and feel all the feels, you know. But this is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. So the character Bree, right here, Bree, she was 16 in this book. The characters are young, but the stuff that they go through, I keep saying it, stuff that grown folk would even be able to go through. But Bree also experienced a death of a close family member. It was actually her mother. And it does seem like it was an accident. She later finds out that it possibly was not an accident. So once again, that sparks her flame to figure out what really happened. So she is attending like a school in this book. Almost, I can't remember, but I know she's young, but I think it was like a special school. It was giving me like college or university vibes to it, but I can't remember what type of school it was. But she had to stay on campus, so it wasn't like a high school or anything like that. But her first night there, she discovered some crazy, strange things with magic that was going on. She later started to notice that she had magical abilities as well. She connected with these group of people in like this secret society, and she started just really digging deeper, and she was finding out that someone in that secret society or somehow was connected to her mother's murder. So she once again went through trials, like they all go through these crazy trials to be a part of these societies and groups and warriors and things like that, just to find out the true story about what happened to their loved ones. But the trials is crazy. I keep saying that, but you guys do not understand. These trials are insane. Like, I want to give spoiler alerts so bad just so you can know the extent to these trials, but I'm not going to do it. You just have to trust me on this one, and you're going to have to read these books yourself. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. And each of them kind of had like a little bit of romance interest in them too, which was really super cute and just gave it a little bit more of that drama. But y'all, these books is crazy. Like, I don't know if it's just me and my little Pisces heart, but these books had me just feeling all type of feels. Like, it was almost overwhelming, but in a good way. I loved it. Okay, so moving on to some spicier books. But these are so good. Okay, so one of the so when I first started reading these books, I started off with Blood Scion, but I was also reading It Ends With Us at the same time. Talk about just like every night when I was reading these books, I was so overwhelmed in my feelings, but like I keep saying, in a good way. But it was better than watching TV. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so this is the book It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Y'all probably seen this book everywhere. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, and you even stumble in the social media realm of books, I'm pretty sure you've seen this one. This is a good book as well. So it's about a female character. She had, first off, her childhood was crazy, and the person that she met in her childhood, the situation was crazy, and that kind of started it off, right? But she meets a guy, basically falls in love, some crazy stuff happens. I'm not going to give it away. Once again, I'm not going to give it away, but you need to read it because some crazy stuff happens. The guy from her childhood reappears in her life and just makes things even more complicated and more crazy. This book is good though, so I highly, 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 highly recommend It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And then another one of my babies, 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I love this book. And this book was, like I keep saying, crazy. I'm so bad at explaining books or explaining how they made me feel. But so this book is about Eva. Talks about her childhood as well, her crazy mother, and how that kind of shaped her to be the woman she currently is. And she has some issues in herself. She meets this guy. The girls love him. The girls love him. Shane Hall. I think we all need a Shane Hall in our life. We need to experience a Shane Hall at least one time in our lives. But yeah, just the chemistry and the love story and the passion and the sizzle, honey, all of it between these two. That's all I could do. So yeah, y'all have to read this book. Do you see how this? You see, this is how this book makes me feel. Y'all need to read this book. There's drama in here. There's spiciness in here. Just all the above. You would not be able to put this book down. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this book too. Okay, so for the sixth book that I want to recommend, I don't have a physical book. It was actually an Audible that I listened to, and it was crazy. The Taking of Jake Livingston, and I'll have the picture up here. But yeah, this is the audiobook that I was able to listen to, and I love this book. It was an easy listen, but oh, it was crazy at the same time. And once again, Jake is a 16-year-old boy. I mean, he's young, but hold on, because he was experiencing some stuff. 16-year-old boy who sees dead people, and he usually is able to kind of, be okay with everything and stuff like that. It really doesn't affect his life too much until he comes across the spirit named Sawyer. Y'all, Sawyer is pure evil. So you know how when you watch movies of high school, you know what I'm saying? And it's that's Sawyer. And it also tells Sawyer's story of his upbringing and all the abuse that he went through, and trauma and traumatic experiences that he went through, and how he was really just mentally and psychologically up and did not receive the appropriate help that he needed to get. And it's crazy because I think they did such a good job at really having the reader picture and feel and imagine what someone like Sawyer goes through as they grow up. But he was bad, y'all. I mean, pure, just like evil, but just on the same side, just really, really, really hurt. And it was weird because as I was hearing Sawyer's part of the story, I was starting to kind of really feel bad for him and sympathize with him and the things that he went through and how he was feeling and explaining his feelings and everything that he was going through. But it was weird because like he took a lot of people's lives and he did not care about the lives that he took. He did not care that he did it. He did not care, not one inkling. But that's who's haunting Jake basically, and it gets wild. Just listening to Sawyer's story alone is wild, but then putting the two things together, how that affects Jake, and his everyday lifestyle and his mental health and his journey through life, and he has also some stuff that he's going through too. Just mixing all that together, it was just like, that's what I'm gonna say. But The Taking of Jake Livingston, the author is Ryan Douglas. Yeah, I'm looking at it on my phone. I highly, highly, highly recommend either getting the book or reading it. I probably would recommend doing the audiobook. I don't know, this is one of my favorite audiobooks I was listening to, and I really appreciate the voices that I'm able to listen to that goes with the characters of the story, because I don't think if I would have read this, especially Sawyer's section of the book, if I would have read it, I don't think I would have got the same effective feeling from it as hearing the narrator for Sawyer. So yeah, that's that. Okay, well, that's it. Those are my top 6 books that I've read this year in 2022. I have some really good books on my TBR that I am excited to read, and then maybe I'll do another video on those books, kind of showing you them, and then maybe you can read them together, or let me know if you already read the books that I read as well, and we can talk about them in the comments below. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and more organizing, decorating videos, lifestyle videos, all that good stuff as well. And don't forget to like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without free.